Today, I
Yo,
got
Zeddy,
you guys
what's
with
going
my
on,
end of
boss?
FC tactics that have gotten me on a 300-0 streak in Weekend League. Before we get into things, as a reminder, we do stream all our games live every day on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So
Holy,
feel free to
that's
come through,
if that's what we're saying, dude.
especially
I have
if
no
you have
idea.
any questions. I'm going to show you guys how I start in-game, pressing tactics if I'm losing late in a game, and another tactic I use at times if I want to change things up depending on how the game is going. I will also show you a few changes I make during the game when needed, so pay attention to that if you are skipping ahead. As I always say, tactics only get you so far. Understanding the patterns of the formation and the basics are important. So if you want a video detailing more of the basics, let me know and I can get you guys right going into the new game, as I'm finally looking to take things to the next level. So drop a sub if you haven't already. But now to get into things. As you can see, I'm currently lined up on this account in the 4-2-4, but this is not what we play in game. Click our left stick, go down to custom tactics, click LT or L2 depending on what you play on, and now select the slot you want to put your tactics in. For me, I start off in the attacking slot. We are in the 4-2-2, 4-2-2-2. You can see it lined up here for the tactics. Defensive style is on balance. Going into a game, there's no reason for me to start with any sort of press, as I'm just trying to feel out the game, my opponent, see how good they are. So we start with balanced, with 50. In my opinion, this formation, very balanced. You do have two defensive midfielders covering the center, and as we all know, the middle of the field is quite crowded. But if for some reason you feel you're struggling in the middle, lower the width down a little bit. That should help solve some of your problems. Depth, I use 57. I think this gives a perfect balance of pressuring up the pitch to try to win the ball back, as well as not overly having my players too far up to give up counter through balls. Yes, we all know 100 depth meta, auto offside trap, auto press, whatever nonsense people are using, but for me, I did not really like that, as I found when the press is broken, you constantly give up lots of through balls, and I tend to manually press instead anyways. If you find yourself not comfortable with player switching, giving up lots of counterplay, you can try lowering the depth down a bit to help prevent this. Build up play, we leave on balanced. I'm not a fan of slow build up, nor fast build up, nor long ball, as balance gives me a variety of everything. Chance creation, the most famous tactic used here is direct passing. If you are struggling with it on balance, which is what I use, feel free to try adjusting this to direct passing if this is what you're comfortable with. My reasoning here is that when I use something like direct passing or forward runs, my AI looks to constantly do the same thing. If you play someone better, they will catch on to these things, whereas on balanced, you get more variety, which is more unpredictable. And if you like, you can always trigger a manual run, directed runs, player locks. Personally, I don't really use player locks that often, but they can be very useful. I do have tutorials for both directed runs, which I think are very helpful, and player locks if you are interested. Now for the width, 50. You will notice in this formation, the outside cams, which I consider wingers, will drift centrally at times. If you do not like this, you can higher this width all the way to 100. Or try the same tactics, just play it in a 4-4-2 instead. I do not mind the central runs, as it changes things up in the attack, gives you varying options, so I just leave it on 50. Players in the box, 5. Corners, 2. If you're correct at corners, know how to do it in cross and aerial abuse, change this as you please. Free kicks, 2. Now for the instructions, I already have a video explaining each of these instructions in depth and the different patterns, so I'll link that in the description if you want to check that out. But to quickly go over the instructions with you guys, both strikers stay central. For the cams, or aka wingers, come back on defense, get into the box for both. The big tactic here is for your more attacking of the two defensive midfielders. We put them on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, cover center, and deep lying playmaker. This allows them to be a passing option, move around the field, look for the ball, help support you in the attack, even though they're on stay back while attacking. The more defensive of the two midfielders, I have on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover center. For the left back and right back, stay back while attacking. If you're interested, you can put an overlap on one of them, help them stay a little bit more wide, but stay back while attacking works fine for me. Center backs don't change, and the goalie comes for crosses. Again, reminder, if you want to see the in-game patterns and all that stuff that I've showcased already in the past, I'll link that video in the description. You guys can get more of an understanding of that. Now, if we are losing late in the game and we need to press, we switch over our tactics to constant pressure. Again, as a reminder, we are still in the 4-2-2-2 or 4-2-2-2. Constant pressure. The width, you can really leave it to 50. It's on 42 for me, so feel free to try 42. Don't think it makes that much of a difference here. Depth, 90. Honestly, during the game, a lot of times I end up moving this to all the way up to 100. So you can just move it to 100 to begin with. This is late in a game, trying to win the ball back, score a final goal to catch up, build up in chance creation. We've already explained balance. Feel free to change this to direct passing if you would like with 50. Players in the box, this is what finally changes. We move this up from 5 to 6. You could even consider 7. We need to get players forward to help in the attack. I'll show you the difference in instructions in a second here. Corners, free kicks. Again, if you're good at corners, feel free to adjust this. 2 and 2 is what I use. Now, for the instructions, everything's staying the same except for 2 things is what I like to change. Number 1, the more attacking center mid, we switch to get forward. Now, 2 things I do here. I want you guys to really listen. You'll notice it when you try it. A lot of the times, I just switch it to balance because as a reminder, it starts on stay back while attacking in our normal tactics. Balanced. If it's on balance, they'll still drift forward, help support the attack even more. Get forward. Sometimes the issue you'll notice is they'll be running past the striker or getting in the way of the striker or just constantly just running straight all the way through. This can be helpful if you're trying to quickly get the ball up the field, but sometimes they will be out of position for a pass. Again, we are trying to get players forward because we're losing at the end of the game, so it is fine. Usually, it's on get forward for me. But if you notice it being an issue late in the game where, in my case, Eusebio or somebody like that gets the ball in the wing and my center mid is nowhere to pass to, maybe consider putting that one on just balance. But get forward is what I used. The wing backs, outside backs, left back, right back, whatever we want to call them. Yes, it says stay back while attacking, but in the game on your D-pad, you can set it so that the outside wingbacks, attacking fullbacks, anything, whatever you guys call them, I know depending on where you live, you call them differently. You can set them to join the attack. So that's what I do. They're stay back while attacking naturally, but if it's really late in a game and I really need as many people up the field, I'll just activate it on the D-pad. I think it's up on the D-pad than left or down than left. I think it's up than left. You'll have to double check me on that. Believe it's up than left. Everything else is staying the same on the tactics. But that is what we do when we are losing late in a game. Now for the secret tactic, and I need you guys to listen here. I have 2 variations of this. We are in the 4-3-3-5. This is the false 9 4-3-3. Now listen. Balanced defensive style. We've already explained we don't need to start off by pressing in the game. We're feeling it out. 45 width. It's a pretty wide formation, so I like to bring it in a little bit. 55 depth. Again, if you're 100 depth, auto press, you want all that, whatever going on, feel free to do that. If you're getting through balled a lot, feel free to lower it. 55, perfect balance for me. Balanced. Again, you can use direct passing if that's what you like to use. I use balanced. Now hear me out before you call me crazy. 1 width. I know this may sound insane. I know it probably sounds crazy. But this formation, your wingers, they will stay wide. But the reason 1 width is nice is it allows your center midfielders to get more tiki-taka passing options. Your wingers will come in at times, but they'll also stay wide. You get a variety with them. So trust me, it's really nice. Try it out. The 1 width is crazy, I promise you. Sometimes if the width's too high, you'll just feel like some of your players are just standing so far away from each other. 1 width, give it a try. Players in the box, 6. Corners, if you know how to do corners, feel free to change this. I just go 2-2 always. So again, you can see what it looks like. Now for the instructions, I need you guys to listen here. I use 2 different things on my center forward here. Number 1, you need to make sure this player can pass. If they cannot pass, Do not use the false nine tactic on them because that's going to be a problem. Cruyff has good passing. What the false nine tactic does, on top of already being in the center forward role, they will drop back a little bit further to get the ball. Both of your center mids will then push up slightly past them, looking for passing options to play off of this attacker. Again, if this player is not good for passing, do not switch it to false nine. The second tactic I use on him sometimes, and I might change this during a game depending on things they're going, I'll go stay central mixed attack. This will still allow them to stay slightly further up the field. Again, they're already in a center forward role, so they're already dropped back a little bit. And then staying central will allow them to be the focal point of the attack. Sometimes when you go balanced and false nine, they'll drift slightly outwards, they'll come back diagonally, they'll kind of just be roaming around the middle of the whole field, just looking to be a good facilitator. They will still get involved and score a lot of goals, but stay central mixed attack will get them more involved as more of a striker type role, if that's what you're looking for, which a lot of the times is what I actually do switch it to. I do like that. But with Cruyff, he's a good passer, false nine, so feel free to switch between the two of those. For the wingers, get into the box for cross. I use the same on both of them. On my RTG, sometimes I switch this to come back on defense as well, like this. So, if you're really struggling defending, you can do that. Naturally, they come back anyways. The one slight difference I feel like I notice here is if they're not on comeback on defense fully, sometimes they'll give you a better outlet pass because they're not all the way dropped back all the time. They give you like a variety of coming back and then like slightly coming back, but still staying wide for you. So that's kind of up to you if you struggle with defending. Like I said, one account I have it on comeback. This account I do not. Now, the central defensive midfielder. Cut passing lane, stay back while attacking, cover center. This person's helping save your midfield, standing in front of your center backs, winning the ball, helping you a lot. Make sure they're very good defensively. The two center mids, all default except cover center. We want them to stay in the middle of the field, help defend, and going forward, both of these center mids will be getting very involved in your attack. So you need to make sure they're both very comfortable going up the field and back. Late in the game right now, with all the crazy cards that we have access to, there should be so many options. Two players I really like using in these roles throughout the course of the year were Puteas and Bonmati. They're very good in these roles, very good runs. Something I've switched to sometimes is two different things you can consider. One is get into the box for cross. If you notice this player is taking too long to help make a run past your center forward or they're standing around, get into the box will help push them a little bit more to go forward rather than kind of just like hovering and staying back waiting. Like I said, maybe work rates can alter this, the player's AI, depending on stuff like that. If you're noticing problems with your player not attacking helpful enough, you can switch this again to the box. Another thing I've tried is get forward. The thing with this tactic, and I don't use it very often, I don't really like it. Get forward essentially means when you win the ball, the player's just going to start going forward, running up the field, right? Sometimes this is a problem because let's say I win the ball in my case with like Frimpong or Conte or something, and I want to make a triangle quick passes. Sometimes they're just gone. But if you're able to get the ball up the field quickly, this tactic will be nice because they'll get in between like the center back and the wing back or the full back, and they'll get open really quickly. But if you're not getting the ball up and you're getting pressed, they're kind of leaving you alone with space just open and nobody there. So you got to be careful on that. Personally, I don't like that one as much. I do like to get into the box one sometimes, but you can play around depending on the player you have there. Now for the fullbacks, stay back while attacking on both of them. You can feel free to throw on overlap or something, or if you want to allow one of them to help join you in the attack, you can also do that too. Naturally, I'll just drag the player forward anyways. I do the same thing in my 4-2-2 where I just pull the player forward or send them on a run. Same thing here. Instead of using get forward, if I want them to run forward, you can just trigger the run by clicking your left bumper or L1. So there's no reason to actually put it as a tactic in my opinion. Goalie comes for crosses, and that is how I finish things up. Here you're going to see I don't have something set up here, but I do have a low-key nice backup tactic that I've been trying in Rivals to cook up. So if you guys are interested in that, still playing the game, want to see what I'm using, think I'm on to something and maybe could be useful going into FC25. So let me know. I appreciate anyone that's made it to this point in the video. As always, stay wiggly, and I got you guys this time for real with more to come.